Welcome. I'd like to show you how to work Fox Paws reversibly. This video will give you the top-level theory on how to convert this to this. Fox Paws is a little unusual. It is a garter stitch based fabric, but the action is on the wrong side rows, not the right side rows. If you are looking for a reversible solution for a stacked stitch pattern where the action is on the right side row of garter stitch, or the action is in a stockinette stitch based fabric, this video will not give you the solution. There is a solution. It can be done, but this is not the solution. This is the solution for a fabric that is garter stitch based with action on the wrong side rows. Obviously, this is an advanced technique. Prior knowledge is expected. You should already have a purchased copy of the Fox Paws pattern by Xandy Peters, and you should be able to work the fabric according to those instructions. Additionally, you should have some knowledge of reversible knitting techniques. Maybe you've done some double knitting, or maybe you've taken a Versalace class with me, but you should already know something about using 1x1 ribbing to create a reversible fabric. You will start off by doubling the number of stitches. So the stitch multiple for Fox Paws is 20 stitches plus 1 stitch to balance. When you are casting on reversibly, that means you have a multiple of 40 stitches plus 2 stitches to balance. Or more accurately, 20 knit purl pairs plus 1 knit purl pair to balance. The row count is also going to be a little odd, peculiar, when working reversibly. In the regular fabric, right side rows are change color, knit all. The wrong side row is knit across, working those stacked increases and decreases where you need them to create the motif. So row 1 is right side, row 2 is wrong side with action, row 3 is right side, row 4 is wrong side with action. When you work it reversibly, row 1 is still change color, right side. It's mindless, but now instead of knit all, it is 1x1 ribbing. So knit 1, purl 1 all the way across. That's pretty easy. Row 2, however, is worked in 2 passes. The action rows require 2 passes. So row 2A is worked wrong side, slipping and working the pattern as needed. Then row 2B is worked in the right side direction, also slipping and working the pattern as needed. Row 3 is change color, mindless, 1x1 ribbing all the way across, but now row 3 is worked in the wrong side direction instead of the right side direction. Row 4A is worked in the right side direction, slipping and working in pattern, and row 4B is worked in the wrong side direction, slipping and working in pattern. So it takes you 3 passes up and down the needles to get 2 rows of knitting when you are working this pattern reversibly. I've set myself up here so I can show you a little bit about the techniques you need to mimic. There are 3 instructions you will need to mimic. You will need to convert them from the regular way of doing them to the reversible way of doing them. Those are knit, stacked increase, and a stacked decrease. You're in pairs for reversible knitting. It's a little weird because you will slip the first stitch of the pairs and you will work in pattern the second stitch. So that's a little peculiar. Let's say the pattern asks you to knit 3. What you would do is slip the first stitch of the pair purlwise with yarn in back and then knit the second stitch because the pattern is asking you to knit. So I knit 3, so I do this 3 times. That was once. Slip the near stitch, work the far stitch, that's 2, and then slip and knit again. So that's what knit 3 would look like on the A pass. The stacked increase starts off similarly. You'll slip the first stitch and then you'll work the stack into the second stitch, the stitch on the far side of the work. Xandy has you work the stacked increases as knit, yarn over, knit, and then you slip 2 stitches back and you work it again, knit, yarn over, knit, and you do as many of those as you need, and then you knit down the side and off you go. You can work the stacked increase the way Xandy wrote it, or if there's a different technique you like for working the stacked increase, you can do that instead. This approach is technique agnostic. Pick the method you like. I'm going to pretend we've got another knit 1. Now let's say I wanted to work a stacked decrease. On the A side, those are a little trickier. You need to separate out the 2 layers of fabric. So I get 2 double-pointed needles. The near side goes on one needle and the far side goes on the other needle. And I will do 5 of them here. Now, so Fox Paws has stacked increases that go from 1 to 7, 9, or 11, and stacked decreases that go from 7, 9, or 11 down to 1. So if you have one of those big stacked decreases, like you might have to separate 11 pairs of stitches in order to do this. I will leave the near side stitches parked on the double pointed needle, or you could put them on a cable needle, you could put them on pins. Leave them parked. You're going to need them when you do the B pass in a minute or 2. And then I will work the stacked decrease on the far side stitches. And again, you can work it the way Xandy wrote it, or if there is a different stacked decrease technique you like, you can work that instead. For this quick little demo, I am just going to attempt a knit 5. Let's see if I can do this. And there we go. Knit 5. And I'll do a couple more knit stitches. So let's say the instructions said to knit 2, so slip and knit, slip and knit. Okay, so we'll say that was the A pass. Now I will turn the work and let me show you what the B pass would look like. So the A pass worked the stitches on what are now this side, and the B pass will work the stitches that were slipped on what is now the other side. So I believe I worked knit 2, so coming back on the B side, that would be knit 2, so slip and then knit. You see I'm slipping the stitch I just worked and then knitting the stitch I just slipped. So the knits are still pretty easy. The stacked decrease on the B side is not so bad. This is the single stitch from the stacked decrease I just did, and then the matching stitches are already parked and waiting. So I just need to do a knit 5 together again. Can I do this? I can. So there's my pair of stitches from that stacked decrease. And I think I had a knit 1 in between, so we'll do that. The stacked increase is a little more interesting on the B side. Instead of slipping one stitch, you need to slip the whole stacked increase. I only did 5 here, but if you're working the Fox Paws pattern, this could be as many as 11 stitches. So you'll slip that, put it on a double pointed needle, or if you have some of those microcircular needles, the short ones, those can be useful too. And then you will work the matching stacked increase into the far stitch. So I believe I did knit, yarn over, knit, and then I slipped it back, and then knit, yarn over, knit, and one more. Okay, so as you can see, what I end up with is 2 separate groups of stacked increases. I need to combine them to get back into 1x1 ribbing. So this is why I slipped this one onto a double pointed needle, and that's why I worked that one on a double pointed needle. So now I can slide them to the end and using my right needle tip, pick them off, near side, far side, near side, without splitting the yarn, I hope. Far side, back and forth. And of course, if you're working the Fox Paws pattern and this was an 11 stitch stacked increase, then yes, you're going to have a big pile to reintegrate. And I believe the last thing I have here is 3 knits, so slip and knit, slip and knit, slip and knit. So that is the basic set of maneuvers to get you reversibility. There is a second section of the Fox Paws pattern that is this wide stripe of stockinette. It's 6 rows tall with action on the right side rows. The way you'll work this reversibly is 1x1 ribbing with the reversible double increases and reversible double decreases on the 1st, 3rd, and 5th rows, and then the 2nd, 4th, and 6th rows will be simply 1x1 ribbing. And so once you've done that, you're back to row 1, back to the top of the order for the pattern. So there you are. Fox Paws is a slow stunt knit on its own. When you work it reversibly, you double the number of stitches. You have separating and recombining, which makes it even slower. On the other hand, it's a very satisfying stunt knit. If you show up at a guild meeting or you put something like this in the State Fair Fiber Arts competition, I think you will see many people wondering what you did. So there you are, have at it, and happy stunt knitting!